So as the case noted, the move in 2007 was best described by this joke. It said that most fake products coming out of China these days are fireworks. That really says something. We were that summer bombarded by product recalls. It wasn't just Mattel, but it struck home for those kids. It was toothpaste and a bunch of other stuff. So things really get hard. Recalls aren't new to Mattel. They've had 36 since 1998, running the gamut of their product line. In this case, 2 million products were recalled because of excessive lead paint. Mattel, as an aftermath of this, was included in Fortune magazine. Dumbest moments in business for 2007 for their handling of outsourcing to China. In fact, a lot of businesses were included in that article because the internal failures, the unintended side effects of outsourcing.
So this is a diagram of what we drew up as what this product supply chain looks like. Mattel had 37 principal vendors in China. And Leader was one of these principal vendors, and Mattel only communicated with their principal vendors. This is part of the problem that we saw, because these principal vendors would use smaller companies in China to contract out partial manufacturing or the whole manufacturing of the product. There were 3,000 of these companies in China producing just Mattel toys that Mattel probably had no idea were even doing that. So in this particular example, Leader was supposed to get their paint from this company, which was getting their powder for the paint from this company, which at the time that they were reporting all of this was a company that was even untraceable. No one even knew if it really existed at all. So the biggest problem that we saw was the lack of visibility down the supply chain with Mattel and their lack of communication. And they did have those contracts in place where these companies were supposed to use suppliers from a list of 8 when sometimes they weren't, and then if they weren't testing like they were supposed to be.
So everybody, I think everybody very interested on what's going on next. And actually at the beginning, the Mattel prematurely placed a blame on Chinese manufacturer, which I think was reasonable. But finally, they claim that, as we show on the teacher shows on the video, they claim that it's their design fault, not the manufacturer's fault. And we actually curious about this, and we're trying to find why they changed their mind. But we have no clue whether it is design flaw or they wanted to protect the Chinese reputation. And but overall, this thing has happened. They paid like 2.3 million penalty for the accident. And this is the biggest left-hand violation fine involving children's toys. And after they paid the fine, they got moved on. They significantly improved its testing process. And in addition, they set to an enhanced product complaint protocol and the procedures to confirm that every Mattel toy is safe for children to enjoy. And after this long story, we got a happy ending. There's no lead paint recalls for Mattel so far.
Alright, just looking back at the good and bad of what Mattel has done since then. They've worked with the CPSC, basically going out, apologizing, noting that they made mistakes. They obviously know that regardless of whose fault it was, it's going to look bad on them no matter what. The CEO apologized to parents on a website video, which I think was kind of maybe innovative at the time, especially seeing it was 07, so now it would be kind of normal, I guess, but that was big for the time. Became a corporate responsibility organization, so that was them, once again taking another step to show that, obviously they're sorry, they know that mistakes are going to happen, but as long as you take responsibility for them, that's the most important thing. 3-point safety check system was another thing that they put in place, because, back with her slide, when you see, there's all these different steps, and there won't be another monitor, and you can go back, and in every position, you take one or two, you know, what was the term that you said before, earlier? I don't know, but anyway, the store, but like taking, and every, step, take a look at what you're doing, and seeing from there. And then the bad it is, delayed reporting to the CBSC, 1.2 months. They basically were taking their time, and that looks bad on them. And, originally they shifted all the blame to China. We kind of thought it was sketchy. We found a bunch of different stuff on it that made it seem a lot more, a very sketchy story, but it, it was kind of hard to figure out what was actually going on. But then eventually they came back and apologized to China. We're still not sure like whose fault it really was. So, yeah.
Now we're going to talk about two other recalls and sort of compare and contrast them. And Tylenol in 1982, 7 people took some Tylenol and died because they had potassium cyanide in them. And up until that point, recalls were rare for Tylenol. This is really the first major one that they had to deal with. And it's a huge company, especially in 1982, 40% of the pain relief market, and 1/5 of Johnson & Johnson's revenue. So they decided to do what they could to save face, and they pulled 31 million bottles of Tylenol and temporarily ceased marketing it until they could figure out what they were going to do strategically. And they issued $100 million through public service announcements, talking about the safety of their drug and sort of reassuring them that it's being taken care of. It's good to note also that this case has never been solved, so there was no blame to Tylenol or to really anyone along the supply chain, formally or legally. But when they came back and started marketing again, people liked what they saw, and they thought they were very responsible with what they did, and they actually got somewhat of a marketing push off of it, and they reassumed their position at the top of the industry.
All right, in the cases of Mattel and Tylenol, the outcome was at least somewhat good or positive. With Firestone tires in 2000, this was just a huge mess. There were over 200 people that died. It was mostly in rollovers that Ford Explorers were rolling over on the interstate. They got up to 60, 70 plus miles an hour. These tires would rip, and the Ford Explorers were very top heavy. They would flip over, and like I said, a lot of people died. Neither company handled this very well because instead of taking any blame for it at all, Ford just blamed Firestone for the weak tires, and then Firestone blamed the Explorers, blamed Ford for the poor design and being top heavy. So nothing was really to resolve. It was both of their faults, and they did that very ineffectively.